So welcome everyone to the February Digital Designers Exclusives. And we're going to start today with the idea of how this design came about. So this is the gnome bench pillow that I made during COVID actually. And they used the gnome right here to create the gnome in this project. I know you can't see what I'm talking about, so I'll show you. So this little gnome here is in the Cuties book. And instead of the feet dangling like it shows, see if I can get this, where is my camera? Right here. So instead of the feet dangling, they just substituted the, can you see that? Yeah. They just substituted a satin stitching for the shoes. So that's where the original idea came from. And then they decided to tweak this clover right here. And so instead of just making it a single applique and putting down the gold foil, they turned it into a piecing technique. So what you have here is your little bench pillow that the directions are for. And then what I did is I tweaked it a little bit. It's the same, exactly the same piece here and here, different fabric for the bench pillow. Then what I did here is I enlarged it in the software. So if you have the My Sewnet Silver software or the Premier software, you can resize this. And I resized it to 6.5 by 11. 10 maybe, 10, maybe 10. Because I still use my 240 by 150 hoop. And the purpose of doing that, so it's a little, it just fits here on the side. But the purpose of doing that was so that I could have a quilting back to this zippered bag. So Lori ordered some of these yellow lace zippers the other day. So if you want to take this and turn this into a zippered bag and make it again for a little gift, I think that would be cute. I use just a plain lining for the center. I use this striped fabric all the time. And I noticed the other day we were almost out of it. I was very disappointed because it's a perfect yellow for these projects. So that was my second idea. So I'll put this back here. My third idea is to make a trivet. So what I have done is I have created the piece. You'll see it right here. So there's my 8 by 8. And I also did an 8 by 8 Insulbright. Now with Insulbright, I don't know if you know this, but it doesn't matter which way you put it down. It still will work either way. And then I was kind of short on batting. So I'm in the process of sewing batting strips together. And this is stitch number 1.1.16. And that is exactly what that stitch is designed for. So when I move my camera over to your machine, you'll understand what I'm talking about. But it works perfect for putting all these scraps together. And ideally, I cut it so that it was on the edge, so you may not even see it. But when I've ever done this on table toppers, I've never seen the stitching because I always use a matching white thread. Okay. So then what I did is instead of the 240 by 150 or the 260 by 200, I'm using the 200 by 200 metal hoop. and I know that some of you have already purchased this. And coming up in probably April is a little project that I'm working on using this hoop. I'll show you one of the blocks that I have done. So this is the one block that I have done. And if you look in the quilt category, you'll see that these have been added in the latest update. Now, speaking of updates, there's a new update coming around April 1st. And what it's going to do is fix some of the bugs that are currently in the program. So I'm guessing that will address the projector and the laser being off slightly.
Is that in my Sonet or for the Icon 2?
No, for our Icon, both Icon 1 and
Both
well,
Icon.
for us it'll be Icon 2. But there may be bugs in the Icon 2 that it's going to fix. So as far as I know, I did not go to the Get Creative in Orlando last week, so I'm hearing this secondhand from Cindy. Okay. All right.
Okay.
So, all right, here comes somebody. Here comes Carmen. Okay, Carmen, you just missed the beginning, which I introduced the concept and the ideas behind creating this little bench pillow. So the original idea was the bench pillow was going to go, this is called a bench buddy, these little ones. And so it was going to go along with the gnome bench pillow from 2020, actually. And I had started the first class and then COVID hit, and then most of us finished it on our own. So, all righty. So now let's begin. So let me change a few things right now. I'm going to remove the spotlight from this. And I am going to share my screen with a portion of the screen. And as soon as I find it, there. Okie doke. Now I'll go back to Zoom. And here we go. All right, you should be able to see right now the directions that I have on the screen. So what I usually do is when I cut these designs, I cut it exactly following the cut directions. But I want to point out something right here. So right here where it says 5 by 6.5, the original directions were 4.5 by 6.5. And the 6.5, it's just too short. And the 5 is just too short. So if you're going to make this again, I would change this one right here to 6 by 8. So the 6 by 8 for the filler block will give you plenty of fabric to be able to cut it down to the 4.5 by 6.5. Otherwise, it's just too short. Now I cut the kits like that, and we were able to do it okay, but nonetheless, it was pretty tight. So if you want to go ahead and change those directions from 5 by 6.5 to 6 by 8. Then down here in the batting, you can see that they have 5.5 by 7. So it just doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense. So that's where that error was. And I think that's the only place I found a mistake. Then what I did is I cut the scraps to match the directions. It made it a lot easier in the minds of the ladies that were there last Friday to be able, when it said to cut the green, to cut the green, when it said to put the yellow down, the light green down, and then the dark green down. It coordinated with the colors in the directions. So I typically do this the first time I make something, and then I'll mix it and change it up after. Okay, so here are the directions. And I'm hoping that all of you have printed them off so that you can follow along visually while we work on this. Because this one's a little tricky. And what this project does include is piecing in the hoop and quilting a filler block. And there's a couple of new projects coming out, and one of them is Shout Hooray. And I just started cutting the fabrics for that so that I can make kits for that. It's a celebration bench pillow, but I have a couple of different ideas like placemats or banners and other projects for people who may not want to do a bench pillow. You don't have to turn it exactly into this project. So that's the whole thing. What their recommendation is doesn't have to be. And if any of you follow the Kimberbell and Fellas Facebook group, you'll see that a lot of them come up with really cute ideas. And the one cute idea that Vivian showed me the other day is that someone put that little gnome guy right here in the filler. In other words, all she did was the gnome parts. And you can actually do that too in the software if you have a way to modify a design. So you can cut out the shamrocks that go around it, or you can leave it. But I don't know that I would do the little beard, because the beard is chenille, and you can see right here that I have several layers of white for the beard. I think you can see that. So I might just do one layer and then skip the others. I'll talk about skipping around today too, because that's how I am going to do the trivet. Excuse me, are you guys sewing along with me today?
Yes.
Okay. Lynn is Carmen watching? Maybe. And Janet,
I have a question on page 4 where it says you can do the 5x7 or the 6x10. Is it just on page 4?
Yes.
Is it just because it's the same design and everything, but you don't include the outline? Is that what I read?
That's exactly what it is. So some of the ladies the other day had small hoops.
Okay.
So actually one only. And so she would have to load the 5x7. And what it doesn't have is these side stitches because it's too wide. On the other hand, for us with the bigger hoops, it should fit. So
okay.
if you have the 240 by 150, then use the 5x7 file. If you have the 260 by 200 or a little bit bigger, like mine is a 200 by 200, then you can use the 5x7 file. Good question though, thank you. Okie doke. Also, the piece that was the only SVG to cut out was this stem. So if you're on page 6, you'll see that it is in place of the placement, the tack down, and the trimming, but the only piece in this project is the stem. Whereas in some of the other projects that I've done, like next month is I will have an SVG cutout if you are interested in cutting out your design. So now, Lynn, you have a Cricut Maker, right?
Yes, and a brother.
Scan. Which
Yeah.
one do you use to cut fabric?
The Cricut, because it has a better blade.
Yeah.
It doesn't pull.
So you use a rotary blade?
Yeah, I use the rotary blade on the Cricut.
Okay, what I have since found out is that they used to come in a really odd size. I mean, they were huge coming into the design space software.
Yes,
But-
and then you had to try to fix.
Yeah, but have you tried anything lately with Cricut?
I haven't, but I read that there was an update to make it come in properly.
Yes, it works just fine. I just wanted to let you know that the SVGs are per size. But when you go into the SVG file, there will be another resource in there that gives you the exact dimensions. And that was designed for when the Cricut wasn't bringing it in at the correct measurements. So we're good now. We're all good. I did get a Cricut Maker. I found it half price on Facebook Marketplace. And I haven't purchased the rotary blade. Did you purchase it online, Lynn?
No, I got it at I think Joann's. with the
Okay,
coupon.
they don't do the coupons anymore, do they?
Joann's does. I don't know if they do it on the Cricut, but
Okay, and do you have a special mat?
no, I just use a regular mat.
Okay, good. All right.
Light hold, I think.
Okay, all righty. Thank you. I wanted to ask you that question because I want to check into that rotary blade. So I haven't been to Joanne since before COVID. So isn't that
Yeah.
weird? I mean, that's crazy. But
Hobby Lobby,
everything, Hobby Lobby too.
they don't do coupons, but Joann's still does.
Oh, all right. Well, that's good to know. Thank you. Anyhow, so now everybody should be ready to begin. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch to the icon 2. I can do it on the icon 1, 2. Lynn, if you have any questions, because they're both fired up. So just make sure if you have a question, just ask. So I'll take care of that. All righty. Okie doke. So what I want to do now is I am going to, excuse me, my frog is back. All right, let's see here. Let's bring this down. And whoops, let me put it back up. And bring it back down. So I left this up because I wanted to show you that stitch that I used. And this is the stitch. This is stitch number 1.1.16. Hope you all can see that. Well, you know what? Let me spotlight my screen. There, that should be better. And if on our machines, if you tap the question mark and then tap whatever it is you're interested, it'll show you what that is. And this cross hem stitch is the elastic decorative hem for stretch fabrics, also suitable for joining fabrics and quilt binding or batting. I'm sorry, batting. So that's how I came up with using that stitch to put batting pieces together. All right, now I'm going to switch back to embroidery. And as you can see, there's the file that we're working on right now. What I wanted to point out too is that I selected the 200 by 200 M metal hoop. Now, I often will do that. My fingers are fat, so when I select the hoops, I mean to select the 200 by 200 quilter, and I hit the metal hoop. Beware, it'll keep beeping at you if you don't select the right hoop. So, also, I had a couple questions this week on how to put the foot in correctly, because they struggled. And in the class on Friday, they were struggling to put the 6D foot in place. So what I did is I had it set up for sewing. So when we get ready to set up embroidery, I am going to pop out my throat plate first. And let's see where my screwdriver is. Okay. So I pop it out over here with the screwdriver. And I always check to see if there's any thread when I begin stitching. So I have red thread, more thread, more thread. Did you see the picture in last week's newsletter of the dirty machine? Did you guys scroll down to the bottom?
No,
Okay, if you haven't deleted that email from Scrap and Sew, scroll down to the almost the very end where she talks about Dave, our technician. And I thought my machine was dirty. However, that picture was not my machine. Amazing. And what happened was I could see some other threads in here too. Is this lady hadn't had her machine cleaned in so long that the whatever it was, the back, let me spit it out. All the dirt that had formed into like felted fibers was underneath and pushing up the bobbin case. So she was having tension problems. So she brought it in, apparently, not to get it serviced, but to fix the tension problems. So maybe I can find that and I can show it to you in this video. So you'll be amazed. So if you have owned your machine at least a year, which mine was overdue, and I had felted with a machine and just generally dirty, you need to bring it in for a service, because just so you know, mine was equally as dirty. And if you have that little hose attachment, then I would recommend getting that hose attachment out. Okay, I'm trying to get a piece of red thread out, so I'm going to switch with my camera. And I'm going to see if I can get that. Oh, I wonder if that, here it comes. Because my machine was giving me noises I didn't like. Look at that. So here's the, okay, where are you, camera? Okay, big thread, red thread right there. So, oh, there's some more. Oh, yeah. You can see what I've been working on just by the color of the threads. Okay, so let me show you what I did. So I cleaned it out and I got all the red, green, and white threads out. There they all are. All of those threads were in my machine. And then I took the brush and I just cleaned it out right here. Clean out as much visible lint as you can. And then if you have the little vacuum hose, you know, the little hose that connects to your vacuum, then I would go ahead and do that too, because that'll suck some of that lint out. So then what you do is you put your bobbin case in. We've had problems with people putting it in correctly. So that little metal cutout should be right underneath your feed dogs. So let me show what I'm talking about. You see that little metal cutout right here. So it should be under the feed dogs. And then you're going to place this in, sits down, and it should rock back and forth, just like that. Okay, then you put this piece in. And if it doesn't sit flat, then this bobbin case isn't put in bobbin. This is actually the bobbin race. That bobbin race isn't put in correctly. Okay, so I have now the single hole throat plate. Be careful, put it, the little nibs here, go right in there. Not here, not there. Show you. Right here. Down here, not here on the side. Okay. And then if your machine is still new, it's kind of hard to push it in. But my poor little machine, she's gone through the motions more than once. Okay, now I'm ready. Okay, now this is the problem. And the easiest way to solve that problem is to loosen the screw, bring the hand wheel down so the needle goes into the middle of the foot, right like that. See how it's in the middle of the foot? What that ensures is that this needle bar is in the correct position for it to slide right in easily. You don't have to keep moving this up and down, but if you start with the needle through the center of your foot, it slides right in. And then you just tighten this screw. Okay. So that, I like to review some things that have been problems throughout the last couple of weeks to avoid any problems today. Now, in my sample, I used white thread. Let me get the sample. Oh, you know. So in my sample, I used white thread as the background quilting. Okay. So you can thread your machine with a white bobbin and then the white in the top. I am going to use this light green so you can see better. So I am going to
Did you
thread
use embroidery
embroidery thread. Yeah.
in these bobbin? Did you use
Yes.
bobbin thread or the white?
No, go ahead and use bobbin thread.
Okay.
Because unless you're having tension issues when we come to the lettering, it should be okay. And that's the other thing I'm going to help you out with too, is the lettering. If you follow along on our Facebook page, there was a question the other day that someone had with the edge to edge stitching, and underneath were the spider webs or those little legs, spider legs, whatever you call them. And I could see right away that she had the active stitch technology on and that she needed to convert it to the straight stitch, because the active stitch is designed for zigzag stitches or the needle going left and right, like a satin stitch. And with a straight stitch, you need to revert back to needle tension so that you can loosen the bobbin needle tension. And I'll show you in a few minutes too what that means. Okay. Have any of you had problems with the edge to edge tension, or you already knew that fact?
I had problems with the eyelashes and figured that out.
Yeah. Okay, good. Your problem solved on your own, huh? Alrighty. So let me thread the needle. And this file included this quilting design, so that when you look at the layers, it came in as one whole piece. Now, there are some other files that you can purchase that you can use in the background. For example, with the Shout Hooray, there's a couple of different files, and I'll load that up to show you what I'm talking about on the icon one, so that you can see. And the purpose is, when you work with those, is to use the quilting stitches first. However, the Valentine Cuties was an exception. She put the Valentine quilting on top of the conversation hearts. So you can do it either way. It's your choice. So what's going to stitch first in this case is the quilting. So I want to make sure that I have the dynamic 6D foot. I do not want to sort, merge, or any of those color options. I uncheck the active stitch technology because this first stitch is a straight line. I don't need to baste in this Kimberbell design because it is included in the quilting design to stop and put down the batting, stop and put down the fabric, and then you're good to go. So now I turned off my jump stitch trim and I selected the automatic thread cutter. You can cut it at the end too and turn this off. It's up to you. Okay. So there we are, ready to roll. So as you can see, there is the outline that stitches first. I had another interesting question. I had a new customer, well, not new, but a customer upgrade to the Icon 2 the other day. She happened to be one of my roommates in college when we were off campus for a while. And she said, all of these different colors, they must want you to use all these different colors so that you can buy more thread. And I actually said to her, which is the truth, that the color stops are put in there so that the machine will stop before steps. So when you read the Kimberbell directions, you'll see that in the directions, I'll just show you real quick. So you'll see that the stitch outs start with the first step, which is actually number 4 on your directions. So what you're going to do is iron the shape flex to the back of your fabric. That adds more, let me show you. That adds another layer for the digitizing. It's hard to see, but it's there. There's a spot where see how it's there? And so what it does is it adds a layer, another layer for digitizing. Also what it does is it will keep anything from bleeding through in the background. So I see that I have a little spot in there. I'm going to leave it. I think it'll be fine. See that little spot? Drive me nuts. All right. Then it says to hoop the lightweight or light mesh cutaway stabilizer. Make sure that you steam that so that it shrinks. And then if you're using the 4x7 or 5x7 design, which is what this is written for, see right there, the 5x7 design, it will stitch. The first step is this top right on to the stabilizer. So what is missing with the 5x7 file, as I mentioned earlier, is that these side basting stitches are missing. So when you look at hang on. When you look at the first step, you'll see that because this is a bigger hoop, it has the whole outline. Is anybody using the 5x7 design? No? Okay, nobody. All right, so let's get started.
Adeline, I have a question.
Sure.
I have a lot of sort of larger pieces of the no-show mesh, but I've tried to stitch them together. Is there a trick? It seems to want to like gather as I stitch it.
Actually, what I've done is I use a fabric glue and I glue them together.
Okay, because the stitching is not working.
Or the glue stick.
Okay.
I use a kind that is
The permanent.
well, it doesn't need to be permanent, but apply it. That's what this scotch is.
Okay, I have some of those.
Yeah, I think I got this from you. Yes. So then what I do is I glue it.
Okay.
And then when I'm done, I just clean off the needle in case there's any residue. But if you buy the glue stick that is designed for the machine, mine just happens to be empty because I need to buy the blanks. You're good to go with this one too. Okay. So that's what I found was easiest to do, is just glue it together. Now beware, what I try to do is I try to be mindful of where those two will overlap, because it is possible to get that little 6D foot stuck in between the two layers. And some of you already know this, I bet, because my bobbin, go ahead.
Usually I just need enough to like catch it in the hoop. So I usually put it up in that area above where it stitches.
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah. Yeah. But when I brought my machine to be serviced, it had a bunch of holes in the bobbin case. And every time I did something stupid, I breathed a sigh of relief because my machine kept on going. So I got a new bobbin case, and it does wear out from time to time. So I had at least, well, I think I only had one in my icon. I had to replace a bobbin case in my icon. So it's not a bad thing, is what I'm saying. It's probably a good thing. Okay, here we go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my hoop in place. I'm going to hit go. Now, when you select that second option, it'll stitch a few stitches and then tell you to cut and remove the thread.
Did you put in a special one? Is that a based around, or was that part of the design?
Yep, that's part of the design.
Then I must have picked the wrong one because I don't see that on my screen.
Make sure that if you're using, what hoop are you using, Janet?
I'm using the 200 by 200.
Yeah, just pick the 6 by 10 design.
Yeah, I must have picked the wrong one.
But, you know, so what will happen is yours will just stitch across the top and then stitch
Yeah.
across the bottom. But
Yeah,
that
I don't
works
want-
too. Yeah,
Yeah.
that'll work okay. All right. So then the next step is to place the batting and center it over that stitched box. So here's my stitch box right here. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to slide this underneath, and I am just going to center as best as I can that batting over. Yep, right there. Okay. Now I am going to hit go. And snip that. Okay, so let's talk about the difference between the placement stitch and the tack down. So the placement stitch, which was the first stitch that you did, went around once. However, if you were paying attention to this one, you would notice that this one, the tack down stitch, goes around twice. And that is usually the way Kimberbell digitizes their designs. So at this point, the next set of directions is to pop out. I am going to select hoop position right down here. And then when I select hoop position, I am going to select trim or cut position. And what it does is it brings your hoop forward so that you can trim around the block. Now, one of the things in the machine, or I'm sorry, on the directions, is that it recommends a neutral thread. Those are dull. I can't find my good ones. Good duckbill. So it recommends a neutral thread. Let me get behind, move something a little around a little bit. Right here, do you see where there's red diagonal lines and there's no color? That means you thread the machine with a neutral thread. Usually what I do is I'll thread the machine with the very first color that I'm using. So as I go through all these steps, it isn't till stitch number 5, which they recommend a light green, and for the quilting detail. So what I do is I keep the white in that whole entire time. And then this part here, where the stem is, I will change to green too, even though it says a neutral thread. But I use a green thread for the whole next step. Okay? All right. So I'll use a darker green today. Okay, so what I'm doing next is I am trimming this batting. And if you're having trouble Make sure your scissors are sharp. Those other scissors were not sharp. I like these duck-billed ones because they stick to the magnet. If you put them in properly, this keeps you from cutting the bottom layer, that little outside area. They used to call these duck-billed. I don't know what they call them now. But they're dull. They need to be sharpened. So I'll go back, resort to these. Okay, and then this way. And if you have to, if you're one of those people that wants to get a bit more accurate way of trimming, then of course you can take the hoop off. Do not remove the hoop, the inside part from the hoop. Do not take this out. Just take the whole hoop out. Now, what's nice about this magnetic hoop is that there are 8 magnets that comes with it. So it's anchoring this design really well. Okay. There we go. All set? So now it's on to the next color. So I'm going to close this, and my next color is a red outline. And that red outline is the outline for the fabric piece. Then this is a placement, tack down, and the yellow is the quilting. All right. So here we go. Now I had one of the ladies, she put this down backwards. So make sure that when you look at your piece of fabric, that especially tone on tone, the tone on tone is brighter on the outside than the back side. And make sure that this is facing up. And so here we go. All righty. So now I'm going to lay the fabric down, but I found I had sandwiched in a little green thread. So that's coming out. Okay, that was in between. Oh, back in the garbage. All right, then I smooth this down. I smooth this down and pull it tightly. There. And then I need to center this. So what I do is I fold it in half and fold it in half again. So I get the 4 corners, I'm sorry. So there's my 4 corners and quarters, I guess. And then I line this up. In this case, what I'm doing is I'm lining up the horizontal and the vertical. But what I see here is this is a little bit out of being smack dab in the middle. So I'm going to bring this down and make sure that it's equally even. That helps for trimming. And this is the right side up. And now I am going to stitch. Snip. Now, if you are uncomfortable with smoothing that as you go along, you can always tape that down. But the batting acts like a little magnet. It grabs the fabric. Now, if you check the directions, you do not trim that. Do not trim it. Okay? And if you are using the 5x7, it puts little tick marks here. That is the center of your design. Otherwise, it goes all the way around, just like you see here. All right, just like that. Okay, all right, now it's time to quilt. So you'll notice, and I also want to point this out with the Kimberbell designs, that when you select the quilting design, it's yellow. You can see the yellow stitching, but also notice that this is color 1:5. So when you come over to your directions, you'll also notice that in step 11, it says it's 5 and a little green mark underneath. So that means it should coordinate or match the stitch you're on. In other words, 1:5 is the same step as 5. All right, here we go.
I know you talked about this, but do we change to the light green like it says in the directions green?
It's up to you. If you want to change it to light green, you can. If you want a dark green or whatever color you want, you can do it. I left it white.
Okay.
And it's interesting where it starts. Where it starts is going to be covered by the stem and the clover. Okay, now I got to get my pieces.
I have to run my dog out. I'll be right back. I'm back. Are you there, Adeline?
Yes, I
Okay, just couldn't hear you. All right.
am. Okay. Okay. See if I can tone down some of these lights. There, I think that's better. The colors were getting a little washed out. So I read on the directions that I need 3 of yellow, 1.5 by 2.5, 3 of the dark green, 1.5 by 2.5, and 3 of the light green, 1.5 by 2.5. I also need 1.5 by 3, and this is for the stem. So what I'm going to do is the next color I am going to pick is my favorite green for St. Patrick's Day, and that is number 231. I know you can't see that. I got to turn the light back on. So 231 right there. So it matches pretty good. So I'm going to thread my machine with that green. All righty. So step number 1:6 is to stitch the stem placement design. So I'll trim my thread right there. And here we go. Alrighty. Now, step number 1:7 is the tack down for the stem. So I am going to stitch that tack down. Like I said, you can pay attention to it. And you'll find that it stitches around once, and it goes back around again. And I bring the hoop position out and trim that. Get my hand in it. Oh, I have to use my little snips here. And so try and get as close as you can so you don't have any little whiskers. Because if you don't, if satin stitch may not cover your fabric completely. So now I'm going back. I'm just trimming as close to it as I can. All right. I don't have any whiskers later on. Okay. All right. So now 1:8. So step 8 is the outline of the shamrock. Here we go. Also, the reason I like the dark green is so that I can see the stitching better. You can see it's stitching in parts. That's the first. Now, what I like to do is I will stop this machine and cut those jump stitches because I do not want those buried underneath my applique pieces. And again, cut the jump stitch. All right, great. So now we're ready to move on to the piecing in the machine. And we are on step number 9. And I'm going to bring this out so you can see this. it was a little bit of a problem in the class, and that's one of the reasons I like to do the class first, is because then I can iron out any problems that might happen on Zoom. So now, if you look at your directions, it does matter which one you put down first, because they have designed it intentionally to look better, spacing them out the way they have. Spacing the colors, so it's not repeating the same color sequence. Okay, all righty. So the first piece of fabric I'm going to put down is the light green. And if you read the directions, it says to place Shamrock A, the light color, right side up, completely covering section 1. This is considered 1. If you look at the stitch out directions, here, let me see if I can show you this. Right there. You can see they're all numbered. So they want you to cover stitch number 1 or section 1 completely. I have to admit, the first time I did this, I was a little confused. That's okay. It irons out eventually. So there I go. I just covered up number 1. Whoops. Let me move it up a little bit more, because this is where the stitch is going to start. All right, then it says to trim the fabric close to the edge. So bring this out. And I'm going to trim this just like this. Oh, this don't work either. So I ought to get my nice sharpen close to the edge, sharpen blade.
Adeline, when you make this video, you're going to send it to all of us, right? Because you had said you were going to send it to somebody, but you're going to send it to all of us, right?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yes. I try and do it right away. So
That's fine.
if you're working on it, just reach out to me and I'll send it, because
Okay.
it converts it right after the Zoom. So we're good. Okay. All right. Now the next set of directions read: place Shamrock B fabric right side down with one long edge centered along the stitch line. So what that means is you place this face down right along the stitch line, like so. And the way they have digitized this is that it will sew right down here below that stitching. So let's take a look. And then if you have done this technique before, I'll trim up my threads. You turn it up and you can finger press it.
You left it the green, you didn't change it to yellow or anything?
The color of the thread, Lynn,
Yeah,
I left it green the whole time
okay.
because it does cover it up. And then if you have this little tool in your gadget drawer right here, I'm not sure what it's called, but you can roll over that And that will help smooth it out too. And if you need to, and you want to put a piece of tape down to hold it down, you can do that also, but it doesn't recommend it. Okay, so let's do the next one. Okay, it recommends trimming, but I want to show you where to trim. So you want to start along and have your scissors even with that triangle. And trim it just like that. Then the next color is the darker green. And let me read the directions to you. Place shamrock seed fabric right side down with one long edge centered along the stitch line. And then 12 is stitch the seam. Let me get the wrinkle out of that piece. Right there. Whoops. Thread popped out. Now let me go back to the beginning. There are two ways to go back to the beginning if your thread pops out. I'll show you. And I'll show you a couple things on the screen. So we are working with a stitch out and we're on number 12. So this is something that we're going to use multiple times throughout this project. So rather than have it blocking my colors and my design, I'm going to tap this white corner like so. There. And now it changes to orange or green. And I bring it up like this. Come on. Oh, it's already there. Never mind. It's right up here. Right there, behind the colors. So we're going to go back to 12. That's one way.
Could you do that again? Mine, when I touch, it doesn't turn orange, but I'm doing something wrong.
No, just go up into that corner. And I had to do it a couple of times too. See?
Okay. Oh, now it did. It just took a minute. Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then the other way is to go to the stitch out. And what I did, as you can see here, I have this a floating icon too. So what I did is I went to stitch out progress. And this screen pops up, shows you the colors, which are in sequence to be sewn, not necessarily the colors of the design. And then this little part right here is what I floated. So when I tap this, so the stitch out options, they have little squares that are floating on top of them. That means you can float these to the screen. So I am floating the stitch, go to stitch 1. And then I can close this and I can close or move this over. There we go. And now I can see my screen better. And I can actually close this too, unless I need it to see where I am stitching.
Thank you.
Okay, so now I'm going to go over here. And stitch that. And check my directions. Do I have to trim that? and it says stitch the seam and then flip it. So no, the answer is I don't have to trim it. So now I'm just going to flip this. And again, I could finger press it and lay it down. What it's going to do now is it's going to stitch the outline of that shamrock. The tack down. All right, now we have to trim that. So I am going to take this out of the machine, my hoop out of the machine, so that I can trim it. Because this one is going to be a little tricky. Cutting all the jump stitches in the back too. Kind of sloppy. All righty. So we'll slide this over here. All right. Iron a little bit. So I am going to cut. Stick it to my starch. Let me move the starch. All right. So I am going to cut right along the outside of that. Now this does get pretty thick in the middle, so try and trim out as much as you can. I don't know if that helped. Hopefully it did. And what I tend to do is I'll pull up a little bit on the fabric so I can have some resistance. And it does tend, it seems to help me cut it a little easier. If I just tug on it by pulling it up. Okay. Now that little area, I'm going to need my snips to cut. Now make sure you have a pair of really sharp applique scissors. As this is going to go over in a later step with a satin stitch and cover it. So we're all done. Okay. Now I'll go back to the machine. And the next set are a little different. So I am on step number 30. So what I'm reading right here Oops. Here, let me pick up my iPad. Let me show you where I'm. So right here, I'm on step number 30. Okay, step number 30. And I am going to completely cover section 4. Remember that 4 is right here, 4, 5, and 6. Going to do the same thing. This time, though, I am going to use the light green fabric. Back to the light green. And this is where I made a oops. I put the yellow down. I don't think it mattered, but I did. I oopsed. So let me get the yellow fabric. This should be
I think
yellow.
it does tell you. It does tell you yellow, right? The
Yes,
first
it
one.
does. Oh, I'm on the wrong, silly. Sorry, Lynn. I'm on the third one. I'm looking at the pillow, looking at, see, it's here on my, alongside me, and I was looking at this pillow right here. We are doing this.
Okay.
Yeah, we're doing this one. So yellow is right. Correct. Okay, sorry about that. I'm going to see if I can trim that down a little closer. You know, it may not matter at the end, but I like to trim it as much as I can.
I think I screwed up.
Completely covering 4. Right side up. Okay. Okay, then I go to my screen and bring the hoop forward with the little scissors. And it says to trim that and close to the stitch line. And look, let's see if I can find my other little scissors. I don't think they're, I don't know what I did with them. How many of you have like several different pairs sitting? Oh, I found them. Sitting on your table. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to snip this. Lift it up. I'm trying to avoid having my hand on it. Then I'll go back, and I don't think it really matters if this is close because I'm going to put another piece of fabric down. There. It's supposed to eliminate the bulk. So now the light piece goes down next, right along that straight edge. Okay, and then flip it over. And finger press or use the little roller tool. And then go to step number 15 and stitch that seam. So I'm checking to make sure I'm on 15. And right now I'm on 16. Yep. stitch the trimming placement line. So here we go. I'll catch that thread when I trim it. And next up is stitch number 17. And we've trimmed it and placed fabric C right against that straight line. And then again, we'll flip it. And finger press. Okay. So same as before, you bring out your hoop and cut around it. And if you have to, take the hoop out of the machine. Try and get through all those layers that are building up right there in the center. Get as much as you can out of that. Okay, show you what I'm talking about. Well, these aren't very sharp either. So right here, try and get as much of the bulk out as you can. I guess some other people had problems who didn't have our machines trying to get through that layer. And then back up this way. And around this way. And here. All right, clean it up as much as I can before the last step. So now I just got to get that little bit out. Sorry if that went off. I was trying my darndest to trim it while you could see it where I was going. Now, I'm going to just get a little piece of tape. Grab the Kimberbell tape and clean up some of my threads here. So. Hopefully that's good. All right, last one. So it says, take your dark green. As soon as I find it, oh, there it is. And then, nope, wrong. I'm reading the wrong direction. Sorry. Place shamrock A, light green, right side up. Right, like so, covering that section. Oh, hang on. I gotta make sure I have enough fabric. So this time, I'm going to cut from this side down into the shamrock. And make sure I have thread coming out of the eyelet needle. I want to make sure I have a tail long enough. There we go. Okay, so now the dark green is next. This is the one that's out of order. Yep. Dark green. So I put this right here. And trim my threads. Flip the fabric. Okay. And stitch. Get my thread. Oh, it didn't stitch, so now I gotta go back. See if it picks it up. Wow. Bring it forward. I brought up some white thread there. Must be I tugged on the bobbin. Oh boy, I don't have any sharp scissors anywhere. And last one is the yellow piece. Let me flatten this out. Okay. you're checking the directions, the last step is, it goes around the heart twice. Okay. Trying to find another pair of scissors because, you know, I have many. See if I can find another pair of sharp snips. All right. Okay, so this step, the next step is the satin stitches. So make sure you go back and trim out as much of the fabric as you can. It's not really thick there in the center. That's the key. And clean that all out. Any whiskers or anything like that. And I am going to use the same color fabric I have. I'm sorry, the same color thread I have been using. And I'm trying to set this up. There you go. Okay, here we go. Okay. So it's going to stitch the stem first. I am going to run and get a couple crackers. Which we don't have any whiskers. Take that out. This.
this one. This has got to be in the middle. This dark here.
This is number 21. Missed a few jump stitches there. Ended up stitching over them. There. Okay, I am back and having a few crackers. Before I eat my lunch, my appetizers.
Adeline, can I ask you a question? I'm working through my cube and
Mhm.
Nadine refers to the blog. So
Yes,
is that on my Sonet now?
I don't think so. I
So I
think
should, I should see a separate thing that says blog when I open to the main screen, because I don't.
on your machine at home, you're
I'm
talking
talking
about.
about my icon too.
Mhm.
It says sewing, embroidery, and my Sonet. And that's the only three choices I have on the main screen.
So tap the My Sonnet.
Okay, that's okay.
I'll show you. Hang on.
And nothing's coming up under social media. She refers to something she put up there, and I only see one thing. And it's
Oh,
from,
that was a long time ago.
okay.
Oh, it won't let me because I'm still in embroidery mode.
Oh, okay.
Um,
But
she put something up and it may now be on the My Sonnet. What it was using alphabet letters through Applique Creator. And I think, and then filling them with flowers and designs and that. And then taking away the Applique Creator, I think is what she's referring to, but I don't know.
and some of the designs aren't there anymore. I don't know why they take them off. Why do they take them off?
I don't know.
She did post them. Somehow she put them in like as a step,
Mm-hmm.
but there's hardly anything out there anymore on the blog. I thought I was in the wrong spot.
No, they've got someone else, I guess, working on their social media.
Okay.
And if you haven't noticed, it's been completely changed.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. It's you go in and there's one for social media and there's
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and you can filter them. Yeah. Okay. So I'm in the right spot.
Yeah, you are. All righty. So next up is your lettering. So lucky. So this is where I was going to mention that if you go into the stitch out progress and you go over here to the tension discs are set for embroidery and it's all typically 2.8. So what I do is I reduce that needle tension so it doesn't tend to draw up the bobbin as much. So I reduce it to 2.4 when I do lettering. And then that way it tends to round the lettering a little bit. So it makes a nicer lettering. If your machine is nice and calibrated and doing all the things it's supposed to be doing, then you shouldn't have any problems. So I'm not switching out colors. I'm using the same green. And there we go.
Adeline, I have another question for you. I bought some of this fabric with the shamrocks on it.
Oh, yeah, right.
Am I supposed to have enough for my cuties in this as well?
No,
This is just for the pillow.
right,
Okay, I just wanted to make sure before I got it.
yeah. No, I don't remember including the cuties, no.
Well, I bought some of the for the deck of cards for sure.
Okay,
bought some-
so let me, you should be able to get, then if you have fabric left, you need 1 3/4 by, I think it was 15. You add 2 inches on to the largest size, and that was 13. So it's 1 3/4 by 15. Here, let me,
So if I cut my 6 by 8 this way, I should have enough.
yes, yeah,
I'm gonna cut 6 this way and 8 this way.
okay, you should have enough.
But then I have to have enough for a back too, right?
Mhm.
For
Two
my
8-inch
pillow.
2 8-inch pieces. 2 8-inch squares.
For this, what we're doing today.
Yes. And then here, let me show you. So you need 2 8
Oh, okay.
by 1 1/2 by 6 and 2 1 1/2 by 12 for the little plan.
We can't hear you, Adeline. At
Oh.
least I can't.
Sorry. Okay. Now, can you hear me? Okay. So what you need for the rest of your pillow is you need to be able to cut 2 pieces right here on the side, 1 1/2 by 6. And on the outside is 1 1/2 by 12.
Okay.
Then on the back side is 2 8 by 8-inch squares. And then all of this is stitched in the hoop. I stuffed, it's so tightly stuffed with a Kimberbell pillow that I had somewhere in the house. Right in there, but you could certainly use stuffing. You wouldn't need to.
Yeah.
There's a big enough overlap.
So I may need another fat quarter of this in order to do my
Yes,
okay.
yeah, because I was able to cut plenty. I was able to cut my inner border and have plenty left.
And then what was the edge border on that one? What are you doing? Is that the no?
Whoops, hang on. All right. So man, I got green everywhere back here.
I know. My room is out of control.
So
Completely.
this is the outer border. And what I did wrong is I didn't read the directions for the quilting first. So I cut this 2 1/2 by 18, and you really need to add 2 inches. So the back is the actual amount, 2 1/2 by 20. And then when you're done doing all this quilting, then you trim it down to fit the side. And so it should look like that. That's going to be finished here pretty soon.
I have some of that. So the only thing I may be short on is this piece here. Okay.
That, yeah, the clover. but that's what it's going to look like.
Let me snap a picture, just a second.
Okay,
Okay, I got it. Thank you.
got it? Okay.
Yep. Thank you.
All righty. Sorry about the ride. All righty, now we're ready to do the little flowers. And the little flowers, I used a light yellow. This is the yellow that I used. I don't know if you can see that, but it was in my stash. Just a light yellow. And then the insides of the yellow, I added white. So the next two colors in the directions number 26 is yellow, and then 27 is white. Yeah. Okay.
I have original shamrocks. I got my light and dark mixed up. I just reversed them.
That's okay. It doesn't matter. That's your color choices.
Yeah, well,
I was trying to think of something that I could use instead for today's project, but I realized that would not be very helpful if I was trying to show you where to place what color. So my shamrock is the same as the other two. So I have three of the same exact projects. All right, here we go. Little yellow flowers. They are tiny. They look like, oh, a pillow. Like that. I think you can see that. There's a very little bit of. So I am going to stop the machine and snip that little thread before it gets stitched over. Okay, last color in this block. is white. Okay. Okay, now I am going to do something a little bit different than what you're going to do. So I am going to take my hoop off and I am going to place the Insulbright down against the back of this. Lots of threads. All right. Okay. So I'm going to put the Insulbright down like so, right around, as if just similar to the batting. And then I am going to put a piece of backing fabric because I'm going to turn this into a trivet, remember? So I'm going to cut a piece of, let's see if I can find an 8x8 piece here. All right. Oh no. Okay. I thought for a minute there that I cut my backing for my table topper, but it wasn't, thankfully. All right, let's go over here and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Anytime you want to take a design and redesign it, there's a couple of easy ways to do it. So this fabric, oh crap, this fabric is directional. So I got to make sure that the gnomes are going up with the So Lucky. So in that case, I have to put it like this. Now, if I had wanted the embroidery done on the back, I would have embroidered it first with the quilting. But I'm going to skip it and just tape this down. And hopefully I've got this covered evenly. Okay. Like so. Okay, so I've got it all taped down, as you can see. And it's going, the gnomes are standing up. And this side is there, those designs are up too. See, going that way. So now what I want to do is I want to go back to my stitching. I don't want to start all over again. So I'm not going to start with this outline. That's the batting. What I actually want, so I pick up my colors. This is the placement for the batting. This is the tack down for the batting. This is the placement for the batting. And this is the tack down for the batting. So because this goes around 2 times on a tack down, I am going to select the tack down, not the placement stitch. Since I didn't change or need to calibrate anything, it should work just fine. You can skip around if you want to. It is possible. All right, so I got all these little jump stitches here. Here we go. All right, don't see any threads. Okay, now when I turn it over, you see I have the outline, and I could have stitched that in black. I probably should have, but then you wouldn't have been able to see it. So it's in white. I think you can see that. So then what I'm going to do is I'll probably stitch down strips and do the flip and sew technique, but I'll have to do that with the sewing machine side. So now I just can go back to embroidery edit. So I am just going to go hit OK, go back to embroidery edit. It's telling me if I leave stitch out or reset any adjustments. And I'm okay with that. I long hold it and delete all. The smart toolbox pops up and I delete all. And then I go into my cloud/folder and I bring up that filler block. And with the filler block, you're going to do the same thing. This goes real fast. And let me get my zipper bag. With the zipper bag, I used green for the stitching. I think you can see that. So for the quilting on the filler bag, I use that spring green again. For the pillow, I used white. So you could use, some of the ladies used green again in their filler. You could do the same thing. It's your choice. Okay, so you're going to see. We're gonna go into embroidery stitch out. Same, I'm not changing anything, hit okay. It brings it over. And it's the same steps. Now, let me just attach the whole thing. Just like that. So it's going to be, you're going to stitch to the stabilizer, the outline stitch for the batting. Then you're going to place the batting on top of it and stitch the tack down. Remember, it'll go around twice. Then you stitch the placement for the fabric. You put the fabric down. Don't forget to trim your batting. Then you are going to stitch the placement for the filler block. And then lastly, you're going to stitch the quilting. That's the yellow right there. Can you see? You should be able to see it on your screen. But again, that's this right here. And what you're going to do next is, after you stitch both of those pieces, then you're going to start putting this together. But the first thing you're going to do is cut this. So I'm going to show you with the orange pop rulers how you can cut it. And let's go over here to my cutting table. Oops. And my orange pop rulers are right here. And I move all of this. So the one for the filler is the 4.5 by 6.5. Your filler will probably shrink a little bit and fit right in this design. All you just have to make sure is that it is, here, let me move this. All you have to make sure is that it is within that 4.5 by 6.5 inch rectangle. Or you can use your ruler and just trim it down 4.5 by 6.5, right like that. Okay, but that's how big that piece is. You have to make sure that these two are going to match in size. Right here. See? So it's got to be 6.5 going this way and 6.5 going that way. This way is 4.5. This way is 6.5. Now, if you don't have a set of these are great to pick up when Lori's having one of those big sales for 30% off. If you don't already own them. All right.
Adeline,
Yeah.
when you use the 6.5 by 6.5, it says cut it the 6.5 by 6.5, but then cut it additionally down to make it 6 by 6.
Oh, okay. So then, okay, so then the filler is 4.5 by 6. Yes, you probably, if you have already pre-cut those sides, that's what you'll need to do. Because the math won't add up.
Okay.
So I'll show you what I'm talking about. So the 6.5 by 6.5, what I did is I lined it up with that top basting line. Here, I'll show you. I'll zoom in. So what I did, oops, is I lined this up with that top basting line, and I was able to cut. And then I centered this so that it was 1/4 of an inch here and 1/4 of an inch there. Now, this here is a 1/2 an inch. So you probably could just slide this up. And then after you were done cutting the top, then you could cut that down to 6. Whoops, sorry, let me grab this. And so that when you went to measure it with your ruler, this would be at the 6 mark. And then right there is your 6 mark. Now, what a lot of the ladies did, which I recommend again, is when you go to line these up, to mark them with a friction pen. So you get a nice straight line. And after you mark it, here, let me mark it. I'll show you what I'm talking about. All right. Let's see if this still works. So I'm going to mark it right here. And then I am going to, this is the 1 mark, and this is the mark. So I think they were trying to have you, okay, now it all comes together. What they wanted you to do was use the orange pop ruler. But guys, this is 6 by 6 right here. Right there. On this outline right here is a 6 by 6. So all you really have to do,
Just cut once.
just cut around the whole thing right on top of that basting. Or alongside if you wanted to just go a little bit to the right or left of that basting. Just cut it. Like that. That makes more sense. What I'm going to do with my trivet is I'm going to use that line as a mark to sew these strips, and just flip it like this and then trim it and then flip it like this, you know, but top and bottom like this, and then trim it even so that the whole thing becomes backed by the insole braid. Does that make sense? Is that a yes or no? No answer. Okay, did you hear what I said
Yes, got it.
about adding the trim? If you want to do it as a trivet?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Same, you know, it's the same concept as this little pillow. So what you do after you sew these two together, this is 6 by 6. This is 4.5 width by 6 tall. Is then you put the 2 sides on, and then the top and the bottom. And you follow the directions to finish off the edge here. And then you'll stitch it in the ditch right here and slide your pillow in there to get the flange. Okay. Now, I'm going to let you work along, but I'm going to show you what we're doing next month. No, come on, where'd you go? Driving me crazy. The bunny mug rug, and I made it already. It's so cute. Let's see if I can find it in this mess. All right, gotta be here somewhere. Here it is. So here it is. Isn't that cute? It's a small little bunny mug rug, and then there's a bigger one too that you could make if you want to make a bigger one.
Cute.
And you can change this lettering if you want to. And one of the ladies said she was going to put my first up here with her and Easter on a little t-shirt. And Lori says she's going to make a little onesie for her granddaughter. So it will definitely be cute on t-shirts for Easter. And then we're going to use the little gnome fabric in the back, because I just like the colors. It called for a pink leather, so I asked Lori to order it, and she said that they were all back ordered, so we couldn't, or they were out of stock. Anywhere that she went, it said it was out of stock. So rather than fight with ordering issues, we're just going to switch it to all little pieces of fabric. So let me get this down here like so. Let's see if I can get a better photo. Like that.
Were the SVG files included with that?
Yes, I cut these bunnies out with the SVG files. Yes, I did. And I put heat and bond light on the back. So because I was nervous about these pieces moving.
Right.
So what I did is I put heat and bond light on the back, and then I ironed them in place. And you should get this design towards the end of February. Maybe the last week, maybe. They said originally they were going to come out about the 28th of the month. So
What day is the class?
this is March 10th.
March 10th. Okay, I won't be here.
All right, well, we'll send you the recording.
All righty. Spring break for the grandkids.
Oh, good. What fun. Oh, I didn't realize that. My son didn't tell me. He didn't tell me when spring break was.
Yeah, it's
So.
March.
So are your grandkids in the area?
Yes, yeah, we're gonna go camping at Disney.
Oh, excellent.
That would be fun.
Yes, indeed. So if you can think of something else to go along with this, I'd love it to share that with me. The flowers are a little bit different. See, that's the flower on the bunny. And then that's the flower on the pillow, the lucky pillow. Okay,
Righty.
how are you guys doing? What,
Good.
good? All right. We did not finish this little pillow in class. It was a little bit more steps than the towel, so it took just a bit more to do. And then this table topper, I think I have 5 already in the table topper. I'm not sure if I have a Zoom class on this one or not. I'll have to check.
It's not listed, Adeline.
It's not listed? Okay. That means I need to put it on the calendar then. Okay. And I was trying to think what else. Oh, I picked the fabrics for the bunny, the Easter cuties. I picked, let me show you what I picked. This one's going to be a little different because I have some fleece that I used for beards, etc. at Christmas time. So what I'm doing is I'm using a lavender, light lavender for the triangle points, for these points. And then I'm going to put the bunnies in the white because I didn't like the gray bunnies in the picture. And then this is the inside border. And then this is the outside border. And then you'll see this yellow fabric and green fabric has resurfaced. I'm in a rut. So the yellow and the green that I used for the inside border, the yellow, the green, and the pink. I got to get the pink polka dots. I had those in the house. These are going to be, let me move that over. These are going to be these colors right here are going to be the orange peel in the book. So
Now, let me ask you,
Right here.
Adeline, when you sign up for these classes, can you leave a little snippet and the yardage that we need? So if we go in to buy them, we can get them?
So Kathy was pretty adamant about not selling kits or
And that's
having
fine.
kits,
Yeah.
but I can bundle the fabrics in fat quarters if but I will have a color chart. That's what I think I'm going to do for you guys. We'll have a color chart without me
Because some
cutting.
we need more than a fat quarter of, right? Like the backing and the
Right,
strip.
yes, right. I'm cutting kits for the St. Patrick's Day one. I cut kits and I cut 10 kits for that. It wasn't going to make me, let me put this, it wasn't going to make more work for me to do a few more. But I guess she just doesn't want to deal with the hassle.
Because if we're all coming in asking, like if we're doing the Zoom, we're only bugging her to find the fabrics anyway. I'm being recorded. Who does this go to?
So what I can do is I'll just bundle up the fat quarters
Okay.
and then you guys.
And
Because,
then how much we need of the ones that are bigger than the
right,
fat quarter.
this part for the triangle is 27 inches or 3/4. The center block that I'm doing is going to be 1 fat quarter. So this and this, the yellow and the pink, and not, this is going to be 3/4 as well. So 3/4 and 3/4 are going to be the purple and the print. The rest I'll just cut them. I won't,
Or I'll come in on Monday or Friday.
yeah, come in on Monday and Friday. That's right. Lynn, the same thing, if you could too. So. And I don't know about Carmen, if she's there or not.
Yes, I am. I'm just.
Okay, did you hear that, Carmen?
Yes, tell me when to come in.
March
because
10th, no. Hey, I'll tell you when to come in, Carmen. It's not March 10th. Don't come in March 10th. Oh. Let me work it out. I'll send you an email. Let me do it that way, okay?
We'll send it to this little group that's doing.
Yes, I will send it to the little group.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yes, that helps.
Yes. But right now I'm probably confusing Carmen because this is the table topper class. And then the bunny class, I will put that together too for little bundles. Okay.
Okay.
It really doesn't cost, it doesn't take more time for me to do this. But I'm not going to get into that battle. I'm just not going to do it.
Well, that's why I say, even if you had it written down and we could come in and we could pick them and do it, that's fine. I don't,
Yep, that's what I'll do.
it's not to reinvent the wheel. I mean,
right. Yeah, because some people, I had a customer the other day, I was teaching her on her machine. And she said she goes into a sewing store and she looks around and sees which quilts on the wall have kits to go with them. And she goes around and buys all the kits for the designs.
Yeah.
And she says, I'm just not good at putting colors together.
And we only have so many hours in a day.
That's true. That's absolutely true. Mm-hmm. So we'll take care of it. No worries. Okie doke. Any other questions?
Nope.
No? You're good then, right?
Yep.
Now, there's a new pillow coming out on the vault. It's called Life in Full Bloom. I'm waiting for the sample files so I can make that up too. And did any of you buy the spring showers collection? Maybe not. Let me see if I can show you what it looks like.
I was gonna say show it to us.
Yes, I'll show it to you. All right. Let me switch my camera here. My messy room. Today I need to clean. Yikes, it's a mess in here.
You don't want to see mine. Oh my
Yeah,
God.
I'm sure it's probably the same.
Oh.
All right.
I did clear a path on the floor so I didn't trip.
Okay.
No, I don't have that one.
You don't have this
Have
one.
it.
See, she does a lot of repeating. So see, these are the
Oh, the
orange
corners.
peels.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what we're going to do in the table topper for Easter. So then here it is. It's so cute with the little rainbows, and it's almost done. Just needs some flowers down there by the flower pot, and I just have to stitch them out in felt. But the little bees here too. Look at the bees, and
Yeah, cute.
isn't that cute? So she redid, well, she created a pillow with a pair of the boots. I think it was this one here. One of these she recreated, and what you can see is iron on vinyl. And
cute.
she had them in red polka dots. The boots were in red polka dots. And then she had the bees on it. And then I don't know what else she had. Maybe the wagon. The wagon too. That's the wagon. So she had that on the front of the pillow, was an 18-inch pillow. It looked real cute. So I thought, well, that's one way to create a secondary project from this one. And this is the fabric that we used from the store. And I'm pretty sure we have, I know we have this plaid one, because I found it in the Easter section. And we should probably have this watering can one too. We'll make a cute pillow for the wall hanging. I'm sure I could do this as a table topper and figure out a way to do that. I like the umbrellas to have the vinyl on them, the iron on vinyl. What else?
Is that just like a Cricut machine iron on vinyl, or does she have her own?
They have their own, of course, Lynn, but it's more like that stuff that Pellon has, that it comes in a roll and you just iron it onto your fabric.
Okay, all right.
You know what I'm talking about? Let me see if I
Yep,
have.
find it. Just it.
Yeah, do you have it?
I'm looking right now in my basket.
No, that's not it.
I think you're talking about this, the matte fusible vinyl.
What's it called, Janet?
This. Is
Let
that what
me,
you're talking about?
let me move this. I'm going to take the spotlight off of this. All right, where are you? There you are. That's it. What's it called? Matte vinyl.
This happens to be matte vinyl fuse. And I think I got this at Walmart.
Could be. Yeah, it's just like that.
And you just put it on any fabric, like a
Yeah.
cotton fabric, and it makes it
Yeah.
waterproof.
Yeah, I made
But this, I don't know.
Say that again. Janet?
This is matte. I don't know if they make a shiny one.
I think I have a shiny one.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
may. Yeah.
Either way, yeah.
This is pressure sensitive. You don't have to iron it even, I guess. It's just easy on application, pressure sensitive backing. I don't know. I haven't, like you do iron too, though.
Yeah, because there's a little iron on it.
I don't know where mine is.
And they feature that. I'll have to see if we can get it. They feature that too in the Shout Hooray. Let me see if I can find you a picture of that pillow. It's very cute. All right, cute. Kimberbell. All right, I don't know what a social kit is, but okay, that's what it is. So the premise with this, let me see if I can find it. Here we go. So let me share my screen. There it is. So it has at the bottom there, you can see all the embroidery, little signs. You put Velcro on it, and then you stitch out the alphabet too, if you want to use a different saying, you know, like your grandkids' names, that sort of thing. Let me see if I can find another one. There, see, and can you see this one with the balloons on it?
Yep.
That's vinyl, that iron-on vinyl right over those balloons.
Cute.
So, and then of course there's stars with glitter flecks on them. And then there's a cake. I'm going to start here with the cake and the streamers in this one. I don't know what else is.
You know what, Adeline? I was trying to remember what it was, but that would have been better to use on those hearts on the February one because it's not so thick.
I know it. I know.
Remember you
And-
said the vinyl?
Right. And I probably, knowing what I know
Right?
now, I would do it with that iron-on vinyl. Yeah. And I might even,
Yeah.
I don't know if you can cut it out with the Cricut or the Silhouette, but I probably would have done that too. So that's what's coming in March. Let me see if I have that other. I don't know. I don't see it. No, I'm looking for something different. Oh, here it is. Let me open this one. There, that one. Can you see the pillow? This pillow
Oh,
with
cute.
with the birdhouse, the mushrooms, the flower. That's the next one coming up on the vault. March 1st, maybe? I don't know. They didn't say exactly. The little flowers up here are fringe flowers. You can see, if you've been doing Kimberbell as long as I have, you can see the repeats in some of these designs. So this iris, this is Crazy Patch maybe, but it looks like iris paper piecing, which is a pain to do. So I'm waiting on those to make that pillow. So we'll see what happens. All right. Stop sharing. I was trying to think if I had anything else to share. Anyone? Any questions? No? We're good?
I have a question unrelated.
Okay.
I'm trying to find the cloud on my Sonnet. Where is it now?
Good question. Here we go. We're going to go back to my Sonnet library. And let me turn on Zoom, share my screen. Can you see that heart in the middle of the page?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right,
Yep.
let me move you guys around here. All right, right up here in the upper right-hand corner is what it says, My Dashboard.
Okay.
And when you click on My Dashboard, come on, there it goes. This lion's face comes up. And if you go down the right, tells you what your subscription is. There's a spot for downloads and updates. I was glad they added that there. There's the cloud. So that's where your designs are. Now down here a little further, it tells how much cloud space you've used. I had 2 weeks ago, I had 100% right here. I got a warning that said my cloud was almost full. So one afternoon, I just sat there and moved files and put them in a different spot, and downloaded some and all that. So how do you do that? Go into your cloud. So you're going to click on the cloud. And you'll get to this screen that tells you, welcome to my SONET cloud. Okay, so you are going to go here. There's a couple of issues I personally have, and that is it'll tell you what these are, but it won't give you a picture in any place of what these are. So when you start,
I know, they're just numbers.
yeah. So when you
Right.
start labeling things, especially Kimberbell just uses KDQ, or those are KDQ means those are quilting. And then this is the Yeti that I did. Here's the tree that I did. This is the taco cord organizer. So it does start off, which then what I like to do is move them into folders. So, for example, I am going to click on these 3 little dots over here. And when I click on those 3 dots, I can download it to my computer. I can move it to something else. I can rename it, or I can delete it. And this is where I went through all of these, then double checked on my machine and went back and forth before I hit delete. So I am going to move to, and our folders come up. So my folder for this class is DDE Kimberbell. So I'm going to click on it and hit move. And so now that file has been moved to the DDE. So if I go back up here to that folder right here, click on it, it opens up in another file, in another screen, the designs that I have in that. And there's my bunny silhouette. It's not there. I don't know what I did with it. Oh, this isn't updated, because what's there should be my shamrock and my filler. Well, isn't that interesting? So how do you get back? You just go with your back key, you know, your back arrow. Just go up here for your, with your back arrow, click back. Anytime now. There we go. And then go back to your cloud. And do the same thing with anything else that you have. And if you want to see what you have on each of those folders, like this is my cuties file. I click it, whoops. I click it, click on it, and there are my files.
Thank you.
All right. And if you want to download it, it downloads to your, in your download file. So that should answer that question. That was a good question. And there we go. Now we're back. And then it does the same thing. It shows you your library purchases as well. So what happens is it pulls up a screen. These were all free that are here. And then it just shows me what I've purchased. This is all of these so far are free. That's why I said I download them right away, so I don't lose them. I have 110 I bought, apparently. That's a good one for, yeah, that's cool. And then I can download this. It just click on download. And I can send it to my, yeah, you can, oh, look at that. That, I didn't realize that is all the different formats. And then I can download it, the BP3 right here. Something went wrong, it says. Oh, well. But these are on my, in my cloud too, on my machine. So there you go. Any
Thank
other
you.
questions? No? No. Okay. So, all right. Well, did anybody get one done, their block at least done?
Got the block done.
Go ahead, show us so we can see.
Okay, this one,
Yeah, there you go.
haven't
Perfect.
cut any.
Yeah. So see how that all that extra you have now? Those ladies
Yes.
in class, they barely had anything to work with. So that
Alrighty.
definitely makes an improvement.
Yeah.
And then did you work on your, did you get your lucky done too, Lynn?
Yeah. I did.
Oh, I like your fabric. Perfect.
I used a light green.
Yeah, yeah. And I like the colors you picked for your shamrock too. Yay.
Here's
All
my
right, Jan, let's see what Janet has.
my deformed one. It's got different colors. You see, I started out with the dark instead of the light.
It's okay.
Yeah,
It's okay.
and then I just reversed them each time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All righty. Carmen, did you just watch? Is that what you did?
She's
Yes,
muted.
I'm just watching. I'm just
Okay.
watching.
You're
And I
just
have a
watching.
couple of questions when,
All right, go ahead. This is a time to ask them.
no, it's more, just like when you're gonna be available. More like scheduling class,
Oh,
because I just need to watch because this is still a little over my head. I just can't seem to get it, so, I'm just watching. I did buy
Okay.
some fabric and stuff, and everything, so to keep looking and trying to do it.
have you cut anything yet?
What do you mean cut? Just
Did you
get
cut
the
the
little-
did you cut the shapes according to the pattern?
Not yet.
Okay. Have you that's a good place to start. So at least you have that last filler one. Didn't that go fast? That filler block?
Yeah, that went very fast.
Yeah, I would start with that first. Cut a 6x8 and then a 5.5 by 7 inch batting and do that one first.
Okay.
Because there's no color changes, but follow the directions and just go through that step by step. If you need help, have your daughter sit next to you.
I know, she'll figure it out.
She can help you at home.
You know what I think I'm gonna do? I'm gonna use the shamrock on the front, and then I'm gonna just use a solid green on the back, and then I'll have enough to do my table topper with the
Yeah.
little green shamrocks.
Uh-huh.
For
I'll
sure.
I'll see if I can find that let's see, that Kimberbell, let me see real quick here.
While you're looking, looks like spring break starts on the 11th, which is a Saturday. So we leave on the 10th.
Oh, okay. All righty, let me see. Oh, this is cute. Let me show you this. So the other day they came out with the shamrocks. And look what somebody did. They made a tic-tac-toe board with those shamrocks.
Cute.
Boy, is that cute, huh? That was pretty clever. I don't know what those circles are. What's it say? Happy St. Patrick's Day?
Looks like a bag of gold. Isn't it a bag of gold?
I can't tell. The coins, maybe? Are they the coins? The
Coins,
circles?
maybe.
Yeah.
One says pinch proof. and the
Oh,
other one
okay.
different. One says Lucky Charm. I can't read the other ones.
Yeah. How cute. How clever is that? And then that Lucky, you know what that Lucky's from? Is from that bench pillow. So that's pretty clever. Some people are very clever. Let's see what else. I was looking for that. Oh, look at that. Somebody made their zippered bag into that.
Nice.
I'm looking, we have these pretty something. I can't remember the name of them. What I'm trying to find is that I don't know where Vivian found it. Let's see if I can find it. Oh, I see. I don't know. Is it?
Oh, there you
There
go.
it is. Look at how clever that is. They did.
Cute. Yeah, putting the
Yeah, clever. Oh, you know that little pom-pom trim too? What you're going to do is you're going to measure up. It says a direction, say 1 inch. But what we did in the class is we had it sit, depending on how you cut this side out. Some of them had it sit right under the word lucky. So
I'm going to use rickrack because that's what I have. So I should put it probably underneath the lucky.
yeah,
Right under.
yeah,
Okay.
that'll be cute. That's pretty clever. I'm not going to make another one because I'll have these pillows everywhere. All right, let's see.
store them all.
Yeah, I take all my pillows are stored flat. I take all the stuffing things out. Oh, look, I remember this. Now I got to find that. I thought I bought it, but I guess I didn't. That looks like it'd go fast too.
Mhm.
That's in the vault.
It's there now.
Must be because I just have to dig deep for it because this was there last year. So, and they have the trim to go around it. And let's see. And then, oh, here's another one. Here's another idea.
Oh yeah, that's from the pillow.
Yeah, that's the hat. Yeah, you know what that is? On the bench pillow, it's a big design. So they shrunk it.
Turned it into an upside down hat. Cute.
Yeah, with flowers coming out of it. So see, just going on this site gives you a whole bunch of different ideas. So I'll share my little zippered bag and my trivet when it gets done. And I haven't used my binding tool since the last time we talked. So I am going to, I want to show you another thing that I did. So I look everywhere for ideas. So when I look everywhere for ideas, it depends on what I find, whether I can actually do it or not. So let me see if I can share my screen here. Where's my iPad? There's my iPad. Okay. All right, let's drop it. You don't need to look at my hair. Okay. So I found this on a baby lock site that they used with their IQ designer. So what it is a shape that I did in Quilt Wizard. Yeah. So I made a round shape in Quilt Wizard and used the cross hatching for the back. Then I went into digitizing. Now they had, like I said, they had this all done on IQ Designer, but I went into the software and it was good practice for me. So what I did is I don't really like the hearts that we have in Applique Creator because they're kind of long and skinny. So I went in and picked the one, a heart and then filled it with a motif. And I used a motif 1 and motif 2. And then put a candle wicking on the outside. And I have a lot of whiskers on this one because I didn't trim it real close. And then this one here too, I have, this is one motif here, and then this is the other motif. There's the one motif and then a cross stitch. And then I sent it to the machine and I did the same thing that I just showed you with the trivet. When I was done, I went back to the circle and I brought it up the trace, not the placement line, but the tack down line. And I brought it up and then I put this fabric on the back. So next up is to bind it. So I'm making all these little projects to use this binder so that I can learn how to use it because it does take more than one time. These I put in, I brought the file in, and then these I put in with the lettering in our machine. So and this has the Insel Bright. So this is a great techniques class, but it's a little past. Cindy's going through all the lessons, so it's probably not built in, but this is using the applique and digitizing so that it builds it in, it stops, and then it tells you what to do, and then it stops again, and you cut the applique, etc. Okay, just wanted to show you that. So,
Nice.
So when I get my little trivet done here, I'm going to record the video, I hope. That's my plan anyhow. So that it, let me remove this too. Oh. All right, remove, no, okay. All righty, so unless there's any questions, we'll call it a day.
All right, thank you. I'm gonna grab some lunch. See you next
Okay,
week.
bye.
Adeline, before you get off, I just want to ask you
Sure.
because there's a couple things that the other day I stopped at the store and you were busy with a customer or a person.
Oh, it was wild that day, Carmen.
Yeah, that's why I didn't want to interrupt or anything, but I
Yeah.
wanted to get a hold of you because I wasn't sure just if there were any more of the classes. I have a couple things. One is there more owner's manual classes that we're supposed to do together?
Refresh my memory and tell me what you've done so far. Oh, here, let me stop the recording.
Yeah.